My name is Emmanuel Abifarin and I welcome you to this tutorial video. As you can see from the title of this video, this is an introductory lecture to Dispensing 407, that is PHCT 407. Congratulations on passing cystinosis, because I want to believe if you are watching this video, that means that you must have passed Dispensing Matters. So once again, pharmacists, congratulations. So you may be wondering now that you are doing Dispensing 407. What is the difference between CUTIS 407 and CUTIS 306? That is the purpose of this video. So in this video, I'm going to give you a short introduction on what the course entails. So in CUTIS 407, normally, when you did your CUTIS 306, you'll be given a product, then you prepare the product, you write your calculations, you write your methodology, you write the methodology and you do them. Then after doing that, you also put your label, and after doing your label, you prepare your product. After getting your product, what do? You write the uses for the product, and that is all. But when it comes to CUTIS 407, it is a different case. And what is the difference between these CUTIS 407? The difference is in what we call comment. Comment. When I say comment, what do I mean by comment? You see, in Dispensing 407, one thing that distinguishes is this aspect of comment. So as a pharmacist in the making, you are expected to, when you are given a prescription, you are expected to look at it and try to check for the errors that you can discover in the prescription. You remember that when you were taught Dispensing Matters, they will tell you, okay, when you are given a question, copy it out, whether there's a mistake there or there's no mistake, just do it the way you can do it. But in Dispensing 407, after you copy down the question, you are not expected to go ahead and just do it like that. No, you are expected to come here and then write some form of comment. So I'm going to give you a short hint on how to go about writing comments for Dispensing 407. So writing comments in Dispensing 407, one thing that you need to put in your mind are the missing details. The missing details. In Dispensing 407, you discover that you find a lot of missing details in your product or in your question. So now when I talk about missing details, what am I referring to? Part of the missing details that you may discover is name. That means that you may be given a prescription or a product whereby the name of the patient is not stated. When you are doing cystinosis, they will tell you, when you are given a product, they will ask you to write your own name. But in Dispensing 407, don't do that mistake. If your name or the name of the patient is not stated in your product, make sure you write it as part of your comment and say, name of the patient not stated. So the first thing you look out for is the name of the patient. Another thing that you look out for is the age of the patient. Why do we need to request for the age of the patient? Those and the amount of drugs that you give to people depend on their age. So you need to know the age of the patient you are dealing with. Is he an adult, or is he a baby? Is he a neonate, or is he an infant? So when you know the age of your patient, then you'll be able to know the amount of drug that you are going to give to your patient. So whenever you are giving a prescription and the age of the patient is not stated, then definitely it is going to be part of your comment. And then let me tell you, sometimes maybe when they give you the name of a person and they say Mr. AB or Mrs. AB, in that case you are not expected to, of course, ask for the age, because somebody that is already bearing Mr. or somebody that is already bearing Mrs., it is assumed that the person is a grown-up person. But if they just give you, let's say, John Alabi what? Is it Mr.? Is it Mrs.? Yes, is it Mr.? Is it Mrs.? Is it Master? Or is it a baby? So you have to request for the age. Another thing that you also need to look out for in your prescription are the units of your ingredients. When you are given a prescription, they may say acetic acid 0.02, nitric acid 1. 0.02 what? 1 what? So that is where the unit comes into place. So when you are given a question and you see that the unit is not there, it is expected of you in CUTIS 407 to tell them that the unit of the ingredient is not stated. Then in that case, maybe your lecturer may come and they will tell you, maybe put it in grams or put it in SI units, as the case may be. Another thing you need to look out for in your product, after you check the unit of the product, is the quantity to send. the quantity to send. Sometimes the quantity to send may not be stated in your product. So in this case, you are expected to ask for this quantity to send. If they give you a product, are you sending 20 mils? If it's a liquid, are you sending 50 mils? Are you sending 100 mils, or you are sending 200 mils? If it is not stated in your product, then you have to ask for it. And sometimes the direction for your product may also not be given. The direction for the product, for the use of the product. So in that case, when your direction is not given, it should also be part of your comment. You ask for the direction and say, okay, the direction to use product ABC is not stated. Then in that case, depending on the supervisor or the lecturer you have, then the lecturer may tell you, treat professionally. Some lecturer will tell you, okay, take 2 at night. Some may say, okay, take 1 in the morning, 1 in the night, and as the case may be. And then in some instance, from your direction, you may be able to get the quantity to send there. For example, let's say you are given a powder and they say, okay, take 1 BD, then times 3/7. Even if they don't give you the quantity of powder to send in this case, what you're expected to do is that, okay, if my patient is going to take 1 BD, that's twice in a day. That's 1 times 2. Then for 3 days, 3/7. That's 1 times 2 times 3. That is 6. So invariably, they are trying to tell you that you are going to send 6 powders. But in a case where the direction is not giving you a hint to the quantity to send, then you also need to ask for the quantity to send to your patient. Then another thing you also need to look out for. Another thing you need to look out for is the dose. The dose, very, very important. Just like I said in terms of age, you also need to check the dose. If they ask you, take 1 BD times 3/7, you need to go to your BPC and check the active ingredients in that product. Then you compare the dose you were given. Is it an overdose or is it an underdose? Or the dose is okay. If it is an overdose, then you tell them, okay, overdose detected for product or for this product ABC. Then also as a professional person, you will not just quote from anywhere. You tell me that, okay, you detected an overdose. How did you detect it? Can you provide me a proof? Then when you tell them, okay, overdose detected with product, blah, 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 then in brackets, BPC page 21, then you close your bracket. So that shows that you actually know what you are doing. Then if it is an underdose too, you tell the lecturer that, okay, an underdose detected. And how will you know whether something is underdose or overdose? Then it takes you back to your CT 201. That means you need to go and revise the formula that you use to calculate your dose. Don't forget your Dillon's rule. The Dillon's rule is the one that you use frequently when you want to calculate your dose. And what is the Dillon's rule? It says age over 20 times adult dose. This is the most preferred formula by most lecturers. But however, you can go and use your Young's rule. And Young's rule is age over 12, age over age plus 12 times adult dose. Then in case if the age of your patient is in months, you just say, okay, you use your Fry's rule, and that one is age in months over 150 times adult dose. So this is how you get whether the dose you were given is maybe overdose, underdose, or the dose is correct. And then finally, the last but not the least is incompatibilities. Incompatibilities. Now, incompatibilities means that there are some ingredients that can never go together. So it is your duty now, as a student of CT 407, to discover the incompatibilities that you have in a product. And generally, we can classify incompatibilities into 3 types. Permit me to write them here shortly. We have the physical, we have the chemical, and then we have the pharmacological. So now, under physical incompatibilities means things like insolubility. That means if something is not soluble in another ingredient, it is an incompatibility. Immiscibility, that's dealing with 2 liquids. Then we also have liquefaction. Liquefaction means there are some ingredients where when you mix them together directly, they are going to liquefy, they are going to turn into liquid. So that is also a form of incompatibility for you to discover. Now, when you watch the subsequent videos, of course, you'll be taught on how to check for these incompatibilities. But bear it at the back of your mind that for physical incompatibilities, we have insolubility. So that means even if you are asked to prepare a suspension, if you are asked to prepare a suspension that needs a suspending agent, that one also is a form of physical incompatibility. However, most lecturers will tell you in that case you are not required to write it in your comment. Why? Because it is actually a normal thing for you to do. When you see an ingredient that cannot disperse well, of course, as a pharmacy student, you know you need to add a suspending agent. Also for emulsion too, you also need emulsifying agent. So that one is a form of incompatibility, but it's not necessary for you to write it at your comment. Then immiscibility, same thing. Liquefaction, same thing. Now, for chemical incompatibility, I will give you a short equation that I believe you know it even from your secondary school days. You remember this statement, acid plus base will give us what? Salt and water only. If you are a good chemistry student, you will remember this. This is called neutralization reaction. So what this means is that whenever you are given a product, you make sure that you check, is your product an acid or is it a base? If your product is a form of acid, that means that that product cannot be mixed together with another ingredient that is a base. Why? Because if you mix them, there's going to be a form of reaction and it will lead to salt and water. Now let me break it down for you. For example, let's say, you know, if you remember this statement in chemistry very well, if you remember, we have salt of weak acid, we have salt of weak base. Now, if a salt is a salt of weak acid, what does that mean? It means it has a corresponding strong base that is attached to it. If a salt is a salt of weak base, that means it has a corresponding strong acid attached to it. So in that case, if your ingredient is a weak acid, bear it at the back of your mind that that weak acid means it has a strong base. So now this strong base is telling me that I should not mix this with an acidic ingredient. Because if I mix it with an acidic ingredient, then this strong base now will react with that acid and it will lead to another thing. Let me give you a practical example. Alkaloid, for example. Alkaloid. We all know that alkaloid are weak bases. So let's say we have iosine hydrobromide. Iosine hydrobromide. What does this one tell you? It tells you that iosine is what? Is the weak base. But this HBr is what? Is a strong acid. So in this case now, if they now give me an ingredient that, since this is a strong acid, if they now give me an ingredient that is a base, if they give me an ingredient, let's say, they now say basic, or they just say sodium hydroxide or something. If I mix this thing together, this sodium here will come and displace this iosine with this iosine hydrobromide. And then it will now form sodium bromide and it will now precipitate this free iosine. So in this case, I know this is a no-go area for me. So I will just tell them these two are incompatible. Another example, in the case of, let's say, salt of barbituric acid, let's say sodium phenobarbitone or any form of barbituric acid that you can see. Now, let's say we pick sodium phenobarb as example. If you pick sodium phenobarb as example, what does this mean? Sodium is what? Is a strong base. That means phenobarb is a weak acid. So in this case, I must not mix this strong base now with an acidic something. Let's say they will now tell you maybe lemon syrup. Lemon is a form of acid, or citric acid syrup or something. If I put any form of acid here, that acid will come and displace my phenobarb because it will prefer to go with this sodium. So it will now be forming, let's say, sodium something. So when it's now forming this sodium something now, it will precipitate phenobarbitone out. And that is a form of incompatibility. So this one too, I know that is a what? Is a no-go area for me. So you can also check out some other examples, and even as you watch more videos in this course, I know that you understand more on this chemical incompatibility. Then lastly is on pharmacological incompatibility, but this one we are not going to talk more. We are not going to talk about it because it's not part of the curriculum for dispensing 407. When you pass this course, by God's grace, and you proceed to dispensing 504, you'll be taught on how to navigate the pharmacological aspect of the incompatibility. So, as a quick recap, whenever you are doing your CUTs 407, remember that you are after your missing details. The name of the patient, the age of the patient, the unit, the quantity to send, the direction, and the dose, and also the incompatibility. So you can watch more videos on this course, that's Dispensing 407, where we'll be talking about powders, divided powders, bulk powders, emulsion, suspension, suppository, cream, ointment, paste, and a lot more like that. So you can check out some of our videos too on this same channel, and I know that you'll be able to pass this course. Take care of yourself, and God bless you. Thank you.